as an act that most most people that will come to the state will have one lesson or the other to learn from the event that transpired and what led to the suspension and even the aftermath of the suspension. Is going to be a thing that a lot of lessons have to be learned, whether it's Fubara or not Fubara. The issue is that most of the political actors in Rivers State will learn a big lesson from what actually happened. And then on the citizens, they will continue to remain on edge because they will not know exactly what kind of governance that is going to take place after Fubara is returned. Whether it will be a governance based on a governor they elected taking decisions based on the interest of the people, or a governor they once elected who has now been reinstated by the powers that be, and who will now be answerable to some powers in the in Abuja. So these are some of the issues that we are going to see play out, and it will not be just easy for the people in Rivers State to now say yes, we are getting we have a governance, a democratic governance, so to say. But it will be a thing that everybody will want to learn how events will develop in the state, because nobody can actually put his hand and say this is actually what is going to happen in Rivers State. The reason is because the agreement they had and whatever thing that transpired behind the scene, they are not known to anybody. Nobody has told us anything. Nobody has said beyond that the former governor of Rivers State, immediately after the election of the local government chairman in the state, announced that the coast is now clear for the return of the a suspended governor. And that was where we all got to know that indeed the former governor who was suspended was going to return. And the truth to that, with the validatory, so to say, the validatory service that was done by the sole administrator, it now seems that Fubara is going to come back. And if the governor returns to office, it is going to be a thing that the Rivers State people will have to actually be vigilant. They have to actually take their destiny in their hand, because democracy that the people does not protect will never be able to function as a democracy. It will always be manipulated, it will always be influenced, and the outcome will always be in the interest of the political elite rather than the ordinary citizens of the state. And that is what the people of Rivers State should watch out and ensure that they avoid.
See, something that is very vital here, and not just about the state of emergency declared in Rivers State. Something actually engineered the declaration of the state of emergency in Rivers State. First of all, we need to look at the problem first, the causes of the problem, even though solution has been profiled and all of that. Looking at this whole circumstance, do you think there are things to learn from there? First of all, by politicians, as it has to do with submission and God for that reason. We are looking at democracy. Yes. Remember, it is International Democracy Day.
Sure.
Because we're looking at democracy in Nigeria. Even I know we're not there yet, like every other person would say. But then we are on track, and of course, looking at the trajectories, I think we should also know that there are so much to be done and so much going down. But then, are there lessons to be learned from what is happening in Rivers State as it has to do with democratic governance by other politicians, governors of other states, aspiring governors and aspiring political office holders?
You see, the truth of it is that even since 1999 that we transitioned from military rule to what seemed to be a democracy. It is.
You're not sure civil democracy?
No, it cannot be properly called a democracy. At best, we will call it a civilian rule because when you talk about democracy, there are basic tenets of a democracy. A free and fair election, if it is not there, you cannot call it a democracy. If elections are influenced by some individuals or groups, and it does not actually, the outcome of elections does not actually reflect the will of the masses, the people who vote, the electorate. They are not the ultimate deciders of who governs them. It is not. You cannot say that you are practicing a democracy. And if also the courts are the ones, the judiciary are the ones that decide for the people who they actually voted for, you cannot say that is a democracy. So and then if the judiciary too is also being influenced by some powers that be, or some individuals, or some all kinds of influences, whether financial inducement or whatever, and that the outcome of their judgment is based on how they are influenced, you cannot call that country that they are practicing a democracy properly, so called. So that's why I said at best is a civilian rule.
So from what you're saying, you're likening Nigeria's democracy to these factors that you mentioned. Is that what
that is what we are seeing every day, because unless we go to court, the court will decide for us who we actually voted at the ballot box. It is not the outcome of the votes at the ballot boxes that determine who becomes the leader. In fact, even the process of nominating candidates is still democratic. The internal democracy of the political parties, are they upheld? You will see that some of these political parties, they just handpick whoever they want. It's not because the person is the best candidate for the job, but due to some influences of godfathers, they will present a candidate that they consider to be the person that may be loyal to them. It is not about who is more popular, who has a better program for the people, who is the person that the people who ordinarily, through a democratic internal democratic process in their political party, presents to the people as the choice of their party for elections. So if these things are the things that we see, how do we call it a democracy? How can you say that a democracy whereby somebody is to be elected is desiring to be elected as a local government chairman, and he goes to buy form, they say no, that there's instruction from above that we are going to print only one form. It has happened in my state and in my own local government, whereby people wanted to go and contest for local government election, and they were told bluntly that look, there is only one form that is available. And the one form is for a particular person that was already chosen by the governor at the time. So that is what we are talking about. You cannot call that a democracy. That's not a democracy.
Is that part of the constitution or the ideology of the political party?
It's not ideology of any political party.
So why is everybody quiet about it?
It's just you see, patronage democracy or patronage democracy, as it were. That is what we are practicing. A democracy whereby some individuals are being rewarded for one thing or the other, either because they have a good relationship with somebody, or somebody wants to protect his own interest, and he decides to say, oh, I have a good boy, this person is a good boy and he will remain a good boy, I will make sure that he is there irrespective of what the party leaders are saying. Before they will hoodwink the party leaders, coerce them, intimidate them, and then everybody will cow, and then the preferred candidate will emerge. And once the preferred candidate emerges, the next battle goes to the election day. On that election day, the people will come out to vote, and if the vote does not go in the way that the godfather who has anointed the fellow wants, what next will he do? He will go to INEC and try to do bargaining and buying of the things, and then you will see on broad daylight people go for vote buying every day. You see them in the open, canvassing, and you see them with bags. I've monitored the elections in Nigeria for a while, and I can tell you that once you get to the polling unit, polling station, you would see that these guys, they have a way they position themselves, and some of us who have already known how they operate, once we enter, we look out and see the setting, we know that the canvassers are here, and those canvassers, you always see them with their bag of money, so once the person is ready to vote, then the way they position themselves in such a way that once you thumbprint, you raise it up like as if you want to check, because somebody is standing far away behind who want to see whether you actually voted, where the money that is being paid, the party that is actually paying you for that vote. And then it has happened in such a way that to your surprise, that all political parties are involved. It's now about who is able to pay more than the other. So it's no longer vote buying is no longer an issue. And we are going to have an off-cycle election in Anambra State, and you will see what is going to happen there, because it will end up in vote buying, because it will be about which candidate is and his party is able to outpay the other, both at the polling unit level, the collation center, and at the announcement period. So we can't call that a democracy. It's just a caricature of a thing that we do where we call democracy. It's not this is not a democracy. This is just we are just practicing civilian rule, not a democratic rule.
All right, we're just practicing civilian rule and not a democratic rule. As it is right now, it is obvious that, well, the International Democracy Day is on, and we're looking at things happening in Rivers State, the reinstatement of Fubara and the return. It's a transition, of course, from what it has been after the declaration of the state of emergency to civilian governance, now democratic governance as they may call it. But right now, as it is, do you see, some persons are saying with all of this, it's going to affect, with this drama, may affect Fubara's political ambition in the nearest future. Are you of the same school of thought?
Of course. You know that if Fubara refuses to play by the rules, what they will do eventually is to ensure that they wait for him at the end of his tenure, so that they will not decide his fate at that time, because it will not be easy for them to suspend him again because of the larger implication of such action. But what they are going to do is that they will use his re-election as the apron string they will use to control whatever he is going to be doing in Rivers State. There's no way, having been inflicted this level of psychological trauma, that he will now come and become the same Fubara that he used to be. It's not going to be possible there, because he has a re-election in the future, And if they could do this to me while I'm sitting, then what else can they do when I am out of the office? So the thing is that they are going to actually control what is going to happen, but the level of control will be determined by the resilience of the Rivers people and their ability to defend democracy in the state. Otherwise, there is nothing Fubara as a person can do, because they got the people that actually drummed the beat that he danced to, that ended up in his suspension. They are still there. Those political actors, they are still there. Those who are for him and those who are against him, all of them played a major role in getting Rivers State to where Rivers State is today. So we cannot say really that Fubara will remain the same. I know that lessons have learned from by both parties, yes, but to say that that control will not be there, I don't think is going to be possible.
All right, to say that that control is not going to be there would not be possible. And of course, this will serve as a lesson to every other person. But then, is it really possible to take away godfatherism from the political scene in Nigeria? Some persons will argue that that won't be able to happen anytime soon. But then, it is debatable. Some persons are already doing their thing outside godfathers. Many thanks, comrade, for joining us. This is the much time will allow us on the conversation, even though it's intensive and very interesting. But then we can't exceed this time limit. Many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, this is the size of the first conversation. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, Global Morning returns. Stay with us.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
This year's focus for International Democracy Day, like you have with other special days for the UN in particular, has also changed. This year it concentrates essentially on artificial intelligence and how the phenomenon drives democracy and governance across the world. But it will appear many countries, especially in the so-called global south, are just not ready yet for that conversation around artificial intelligence. Because yes, on the one hand, we are grateful, we appreciate the fact that AI is revolutionizing how we live, how we work, how we interact across the world. On the other hand, ethical concerns about governance are yet to be addressed. And when you narrow it down to democracy, questions around whether AI has been adopted to a commendable extent regarding how we provide leadership within the framework of democracy is another conversation altogether. In the case of Nigeria, Ramsey, I'm thinking maybe AI should even be our primary focus right now with regards to the International Day of Democracy or the International Democracy Day. It probably should be the peculiarity of the challenges that we're dealing with. I mean, you took out time a while ago talking with our guest about River States, the politics around the development in states, and of course, in just a matter of days from here, all else equal for the suspended governor, Siminalayi Fubara, to return to work, as it were, and then, of course, the rest will be history, as they say. But then, we've been here, democracy experiment, as some people call it, since 1999. There are still those who argue that, well, we have not done very, I mean, the journey has not been impressive because they think we could have done better than this the last almost 3 decades.
Well, if you ask anyone in Nigeria now, they will tell you, well, we're in a digital age,
right?
So many things happening, AI here, AI there, and AI everywhere. But then coming back to democracy in Nigeria, every Nigerian will tell you that we are not there yet. Some will even tell you what we practice in Nigeria is not democracy, that is just a civilian rule, like my guest just said on the program.
Right.
And a lot of Nigerians believe in that school of thought. That's not the first time I'm hearing it. Some of my guests on this program have said it severally, and some Nigerians that we interface with outside say the same thing. Why? Because of the inconsistencies and the struggles that we have with the process of electing our leaders. That's the reason. Because if you want to put democracy side by side with what we have in other countries, you can see that there is a very big difference. Elections happen outside Nigeria in other countries, and you see our leaders applauding their process. You see the former president of this country, in the person of His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, has monitored and supervised a foreign observer. You know, he has gone to observe and monitor a lot of elections in countries around the world. You know, in Africa especially, because of what happened in 2015. Now, with all of this going on, you can see that, well, there is a very big line, not a thin line now, a very thick line, all right, between the way democracy is being practiced outside of Nigeria and, of course, in this country. This is how many democracy has come a long way. It has been here for a while now, but are we improving? Okay, and are the people, the system, is the system ready to improve? Are we working towards perfection? But as it is, if you ask the people who are at the center of this whole thing, they will tell you the elections have been free and fair. And if you want to say anything contrary, they will tell you it's because your person didn't get there.
Right.
And that has been the notion all this while. So sometimes you find it very difficult to even fight some of the things that people feel are the inconsistencies that we have in the system.
Quite frankly, and one of the concerns that people always want to quickly highlight is the challenge of credible, free, and fair polls. Because you can talk about democracy and not, address squarely issues around elections. Of course, it is the elections that throw up people, starting internally within political parties, and then you go to the polls and things like that. Winners are decided and people get into office. In the case of Nigeria, INEC has always been, as we say on social media, dragged over most of these issues. Every time an election is suspected or believed to have been compromised or to have fallen short in terms of standards, in terms of outcomes, everybody is pointing fingers at INEC. And it has also stirred concerns around whether or not the reforms have introduced the last 2+ decades have worked at all. We saw, for example, in the lifetime of former President Musa Yar'Adua, blessed memory, how that he was very vehement, unequivocal, and, if you like, committed, right, to ensuring that electoral reforms were not just things we mouthed, but an action, both by the government's critical stakeholders and, of course, by extension, the people. We saw all of that. Fast forward to 2022, immediate past president, talking about late former President Muhammadu Buhari, did sign into law the Electoral Act, which is, as lawyers say, an extant law, a piece of legislation that's supposed to support the grundum, the Constitution, in ensuring that elections are beyond free and fair, that INEC will not only be an independent institution, as the name already implies, but it will be such that the electorate can trust that their votes will count. But whether or not we have seen results, very appreciable results in those areas, are still subjects of debate. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll begin to wind down on Global Morning. Please stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Beyond the system of government practiced in any country, what human beings and those governed generally want is good leadership, provision of the basics for them. People are not as interested in whether it's democracy or any other form of government as they are invested in what leadership is giving to them at that point in time. And it's the reason you see, even beyond the media, citizens in their individual capacity continue to probe government's policies, government's actions and programs to see exactly in what specific ways they impact their lives. And this is only natural because government in the first instance is in place to make lives better. I mean, that's the idealistic thinking about these things. However, back at home in Nigeria, Section 2 of our Constitution, we are told even by the finest of lawyers, it is not justiciable, which is a conversation that looks like one that is essentially endless. But again, if any kind of government, whether it's democratic or whatever it is, cannot provide the essentials of life for citizens, it only means that at that point in time, on that level, people are not interested whether it's democracy or for how long it has been practiced. All they're asking themselves will be, has it put food on the table? Has it made our roads better? Has it provided access to quality health care? Has it been able to guarantee quality education? I mean, all of the other things of life that just make life meaningful.
But that's the underlying meaning of democracy, as a matter of fact.
Ideally.
Yes, ideally. My brother, ideally.
Right.
Okay, ideally. But then we don't have it. We don't have it. And that's why Nigerians, a lot of people are still arguing if what we have is still democracy because it's not government for the people, according to them.
Right.
Looking at the realities that a lot of people are facing, the struggles, and people, they always tell you the struggle continues, and some will always tell you, well, we need to struggle to get out of what we have been in for several years ago, you know. So all of this put together will still keep hope alive,
right?
Because when there is life, there is hope, and one day we'll surely get there. So we should keep trying our best, be patriotic enough, pray for the nation, and try on our own part. Because someone told me something very striking yesterday, that a lot of people blame those in governance. But first of all, the errors need to be corrected from down before we even get to the top. And I was trying to see reason. He used himself as an example. He said, look at this thing that I'm selling now, this watermelon that I'm selling now. Am I sincere with whatever I do right here? Have I practice any corrupt thing, anything that has to do with corruption in the past and all of that? And he said, well, this thing starts from down upwards, and I was seeing reasons for him. So all of us need to play our little part to ensure that we have a glitch-free society, which will now translate into what we are praying for at the time.
You know, I mean, quite aptly put. You know, a while ago I was talking about the electoral process, how that democracy, I mean, the practice of it, basically, and the electoral process, more like Siamese twin, they go hand in hand. I mean, you can talk about functional democracy if you are not able to address, if you fail to address issues around elections, how that they have to be credible and all of that. And corruption, which you just mentioned now, is another, if you like, monster that must be tackled if democracy must survive. Because in the case of Nigeria, I mean, we've been talking about corruption here for quite a number of decades. By the time Obasanjo became president in 1999, it was part of his mantra. Of course, by 2004, a little over 2 decades ago, the EFCC and the ICPC came on stream, and then the rebuttal factor kicked in. More than 20 years down the line, for example, we're still having the same, I mean, virtually the same issues today as we had more than 20 years ago. And you're asking, at what point are we going to say, yes, we may not have been able to obliterate corruption altogether, but have we been able to cut it to its barest in such a way that we can say we have won the war, just waiting for the battle to be won as well. But again, this conversation is ongoing, and we want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been part of the program today. We say we appreciate you so very much. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions. I'm Uyi Agmofwewe.
And I'm Ramsey Enoch Abo. Many thanks for joining us.